Day 17, verses 45 to 47, the fall of the warrior. Namaste and welcome to Gita 360. Earlier, we read about Arjuna's guilt and sorrow as he imagined the destruction of families and the downfall of Dharma. Today, we see his despair reach its peak. Alas, we are resolved to commit a great sin. Driven by the desire for the pleasures of a kingdom, we are ready to kill our own kin. It would be better if, with weapons in hand, the sons of Dhritarashtra kill me, unarmed and unresisting, on the battlefield. Arjuna's heart fills with remorse. He identifies himself amongst the guilty because, despite being aware that this war would only bring misfortune to all, they are all ready to commit the sin of killing their own family members. He calls the desire for victory Rajya Sukha Lobha, the greed for kingdom and its comfort. His words reveal his disillusionment and the fact that the very goals he was ready to fight for now feel meaningless. This moment is the Vishada Yuga, the time of despair. Verse 46 captures Arjuna's complete surrender to despair. He would rather die defenseless than fight those he loves and respects. He no longer seeks victory, justice, or even survival. He feels he would rather die than fight this war. This is the lowest point of his despair, where emotion overwhelms understanding. How many times do we reach this point where we prefer death over doing something extremely unpleasant but necessary? The Gita teaches us how to face these moments, confront our demons, and move past them. Sanjay said, "Having spoken thus on the battlefield, Arjuna casts aside his bow and arrow and sits down on the chariot seat, his heart overwhelmed with grief." The final verse of chapter 1 is haunting. Arjuna does not argue, command, or plead anymore. He simply sits down. He lets go of the Gandiv, his divine bow, in a final mark of surrender to his sorrow. Yet, this silence is sacred. It is a stillness before transformation. The Gita's wisdom begins after this surrender. Sometimes life brings us to the same point when we no longer have the strength to fight or the clarity to act. And it is in these moments of collapse that the true teacher, be it our inner self or a divine intervention, finally leads us towards the right path. Arjuna's despair is the threshold of awakening, a tipping point where we must decide which path we should take. These 3 verses remind us of 2 eternal truths. Number 1, true strength allows surrender. Arjuna's bow slipping from his hand is not weakness. It is honesty, and it is a final surrender to what he feels is the truth and righteousness. Bravery lies in knowing our weaknesses and surrendering to find greater strength, greater wisdom. Number 2, total confusion often precedes clarity. When life brings us to our knees, when nothing makes sense, we are closer to the truth than we think. That is the point we must surrender to truth, divinity, supreme energy, or whatever higher power we believe in to show us the right direction. Thought of the day. When you're Gandhi, your confidence, control, and self-esteem slip from you. Do not panic. Sit in the silence and take a pause. In that silence, wisdom waits for you. Today, on this sacred day, when you have finished the first chapter of the Gita, pause and ask yourself, what am I holding on to that I need to lay down in order to see the truth with clarity? What truth might I finally hear if I allow myself to stop resisting? When you stop struggling against your own confusion, grace enters quietly, just as Krishna does, ready to speak. Thank you for joining me on Gita 360. May you have the courage to sit with your own uncertainty today, to let go when you must, and to trust the silence.